Dear students, I am Dr. B.K. Barik, a retired principal of a college. Now I will talk to you on electricity, electrostatic. I will start with electrostatic, and this first class will be based on charges at rest. So, the branch of physics which deals with charges at rest, the branch of physics which deals with charges at rest is called as electrostatic. And when a glass rod, a glass rod is taken and is rubbed with silk, glass rod gains a special property of attracting small piece of paper and light feather spur. Glass rod को आम जदि घसी सिल्क सांगे घसीबा घसीले देखा से जो ग्लास रडटा गोटे अट्राक्ट करिबा काहाकू ना ए पर बा छोट छोट लाइट पार्टिकल्स को अट्राक्ट करि परिबो. Similarly, this same effect is also observed in case of amber when it is rubbed with a woolen cloth. And also when we comb our hair, also we will see that the comb will attract small piece of paper and also small light particles. This phenomena was observed and this is called as electrostatic. The glass rod or amber or the comb is said to have acquired charges or electricity. The word electricity is derived from electrum, E-L-E-C-T-R-U-M. From this word electrum, electricity was derived, the Greek name of amber. When glass rod or amber is rubbed with silk or woolen cloth, glass rod or amber acquires positive charges. They transfer some electron from the glass rod to the woolen cloth or the silk. So, when they transfer some electron, the glass rod becomes positively charged. You know that when a smallest particle of a matter is atom, atom consists of a nucleus and electrons revolve around the nucleus, and this is your nucleus. Every material particle will the smallest particle of the matter is atom. Atom consists of a nucleus which is positively charged and the electrons are revolving in different orbits, and that is negative charge, and the amount of positive charge is equal to the amount of negative charge. So, as a result of which this, suppose there are 11 protons, the positive charge is the proton and the electron is negative charge. If there are suppose 11 number of protons, then there will be minus 11 number of electrons. So, as a whole if you add them, so plus 11 minus 11 becomes equal to 0. So, the glass rod contains atoms and this atom has equal number of positive charges and negative charges. So, as a result the total charge on the glass rod is equal to 0. When it is rubbed with silk, this glass rod gives some electron to the silk. So, when it gives means this, suppose there are 11 electrons, so it gives suppose 5 electrons. So, if it gives 5 electrons, it means is minus 6 electron, but here there are plus 11 electron and there is minus 6 electron. So, it becomes 11 plus minus 6 becomes equal to 5 plus. So, it becomes positive charge. This is the one example. It does not contain 11 electrons, but it has. So, when it gives some electron to the silk, the silk acquires this electron and it is deficient of electron. The glass rod is deficient of electron. So, it becomes positively charged. So, glass rod becomes positively charged and the silk becomes negatively charged. So, there are two types of charges, one is positive charge, another is the negative charge, and charging a body can be made or can be done by three processes. One is charging by friction, charging are made by three processes. One is charging by friction, second one is charging by induction, charging by conduction, and third one is charging by induction. So, there are three processes by which we can charge a body. Charging by friction, when glass rod is rubbed with silk or amber is rubbed with a woolen cloth, so the charge that is developed is called as charging by friction. And then second one is charging by conduction. When it's uncharged body, suppose one body is uncharged, that means does not contain charges. There are nucleus is positive charge and electrons is negative charge. There are equal number of positive charges and also equal number of negative charge. So, as a result of which it is neutral, electrically neutral. When a charged body, suppose we take a positively charged body and touch this charged body to a uncharged body. So, the charges that is remaining in this charged body will be distributed, will be divided, and it gives the positive charge to the uncharged body, and it becomes positive charge. And there, if they are same volume, same it is made of same material, so there will equal number of sharing, and this becomes positively charged. This is called charging by conduction. Similarly, charging by induction means, that means for charging by conduction, you have to touch the uncharged body to a charged body. Similarly, charging by induction means a charged body is placed near a uncharged body. Difference is, charging by conduction means you have to place touch the charged body to a uncharged body, but in case of induction, the charged body should be placed near the uncharged body. It cannot touch the uncharged body. So, suppose there is a charged body, you can take it positive or you can take a negative charged body, does not matter. You keep a uncharged body near it, you cannot touch it. So, when you place the uncharged body near a charged body, this uncharged body has positive charge, nucleus, and also there is a negative charge. So, positive charge always attracts the negative charge, and it will repel the positive charges. So, positive charge will be placed further away from this charge, and the negative charges will be placed near the positive charges. And if you earth it, if you connect this uncharged body to earth, electrons from earth will flow and will neutralize the positive charges. So, after when it is connected to earth, only electrons will come and will neutralize the positive charges placed, which is further away from the charged body. So, as a result, you will see that after some time when it will be completely negative charges. Negative charges then will be distributed over the uncharged body. So, we will have a negative charge will be developed in this uncharged body. This is called charging by induction. Okay. Then I will say you again unit of charge. In SI system, unit of charge is coulomb. in SI system, International System of Units. So, in SI system, unit of charge is coulomb, COULOMB. That is called, we write as 1C, coulomb. It is as capital C. 1 coulomb charge is equal to the 625 into 10 to the 16 electron charge. 1 coulomb charge is equal to 625 into 10 to the power 16 electronic charge. That means a body has a positive charge of 1 coulomb, means it has deficit of 625 into 10 to the 16 electrons from the normal due share. So, that means 625 into 10 to the 16 electronic charge is equal to 1 coulomb, or 1 electronic charge is equal to 1 coulomb divided by 625 into 10 to the power 16. Or we can write as 1 electron charge, or 1 E we can write. Electron you can write as E minus, and for proton it is E plus. Then 1 E is equal to 1 C, 1 coulomb divided by 625 into 10 to the power 16, or one E is equal to 1 electronic charge is equal to 1 by 625 into 10 to the 16, means it is equal to, if you calculate it, then it will come as 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So, 1 electronic charge is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb electronic charge. Similarly, proton has electronic charge 1 E plus. So, that is also equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Then I will tell you regarding the properties of electronic charge. What are the properties that electronic charges possesses? First property is, there I have told you that electric charge is of two types. One is positive charge, another is negative charge, and all these positive or negative charges, so they are all scalar quantity, they are not vector quantity. Charges are scalar quantity. So, this is one property of charge. So, first property is properties of, I write as properties of electronic charge. First is, charge is a scalar quantity. No direction is assigned to charge. It does not obey the laws of vector algebra. So, it is a scalar quantity. Then second property is discrete nature of charge or quantization of charge. Discrete nature or quantization of charge. This is second property. Charge on an electron E minus or proton E plus is minimum, and that is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. We have calculated this is the minimum charge. This is the charge of electron or charge of proton is minimum, and that is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19 C. And the charge on a body is integral multiple of the minimum of electronic charge. The charge on a body is integral multiple of minimum electronic charge plus minus E. So, mathematically we can write that Q is equal to plus or minus Ne. E is the minimum charge and it is multiple of N. N is an integer, that is N is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. That means a body can possess charge of plus E, and if it becomes 1 becomes equal to plus E or plus 2E or plus 3E or 4E or 5E like that. Similarly, for a negative charge it will be minus E, minus 2E, minus 3E, minus 4E like that. So, it is integral multiple, these are all integers, N is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they are called as integers. So, the charge on a body can be multiplied with a 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. It will not be a fraction. It will not be fraction. 2 by 3 cannot exist. Of course, today we have recently we have postulated a theory where fractional charges exist. So, that in that case also it is multiple of fractional charges. So, but here now we will tell you only for this N is equal to 1, 2, 3 fractional charges. Regarding fractional charges we will not list, we are least concerned. So, Q, the total charge on a body, is integral multiple of the integers. This means positive charge body could have plus E, plus 2E, plus 3 charges. Similarly, negative charge body could have minus E, minus 2E, minus 3E like that. So, this is called quantization of charge. The charge is discrete in nature, not continuous. It is an integral multiple of some integers. So, this is the second property of charges. Then third property is conservation of charge. Third property is conservation of charge. The total charge, the algebraic sum of positive and negative charges in an isolated system remains constant. So, that is called conservation of charge. Conservation means a constant. Conservation of energy means energy is constant. We know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to the other. The total energy of the system is a constant, that is called law of conservation of energy. Similarly, conservation charge means the total charge in an isolated system is always a constant quantity. Isolated system means there are no charges outside. Example of conservation of charge is when a glass rod is rubbed with silk, both are neutral. The total charge of glass rod and silk is 0 before rubbing, and after rubbing glass rod becomes positively charged and the silk gains equal amount of negative charge. So, if you add them, the positive charge and negative charge, equal number of positive and negative charge means the total becomes equal to 0. So, initially before rubbing the glass rod was and the silk were neutral. So, they have total charge is 0. After rubbing also we find that the total charge becomes equal to 0. So, that means the charge is conserved. So, you can also give another example in radioactivity. radioactivity means there are certain heavy elements which radiate energy by itself. This gives spontaneous emission of energy, gives alpha ray, beta ray, gamma ray. So, those substances are called as radioactive substance. In radioactive decay, uranium 235, this is a heavy element, this 92 238, this is the mass number of uranium is 238 and this is the atomic number of uranium is 92. That means there are 92 number of protons in uranium. This is a heavy element and this spontaneously decays, that disintegrates, that breaks and the giving rise to thorium, that is 90 234 with emission of alpha particle, helium nucleus. This is alpha particle. In this radioactive decay, this conservation charge also holds good, because you see uranium when decays gives rise to thorium and a alpha particle, emission of alpha particle. Alpha particle is the helium nucleus with a atomic number 2 and mass number is 4, and thorium is atomic number is 90 and mass number is 234, and this has atomic number 92 and this is mass number is 238. Mass number means number of protons and neutrons, and this is the atomic number means number of protons. So, that means here the proton number is, before decay the uranium has proton number plus 92e. Proton is positively charged, so it has charge is plus 92e. So, after the decay thorium has atomic number 90 and helium nucleus, the alpha particle has atomic number 2. So, it has 90 protons. So, this thorium has 90 protons. So, charge is 90 E plus 90 E, and similarly this has helium has charge atomic number is plus A2. So, this is plus 2 E. So, after decay, after spontaneous emission, so charge becomes equal to, this becomes plus 92 E, and here before emission, before spontaneous decay, the charge is plus 92 E. So, before is plus 92 E and after decay is also it has 92 E. So, that means the total charge remains the same, and that is plus 92 E and this is plus also 92 E. So, that means charge is conserved. Then fourth property of electronic charge is additive nature of charge. Fourth property is the total charge on a body is equal to algebraic sum of charges located at different points or different regions of the body. Algebraic sum means you can suppose in a body, one body, suppose in this here it has 5 plus charge and there is minus 2 E charge. So, total charge of the system is equal to 5 E plus minus 2 E, 5 plus minus 2 is 3. Then fifth property is the invariance of charge. Invariance of charge. The amount of charge remains the same when converted from one inertial frame to another inertial frame. You take two frame of reference, one is the, suppose you take a rest frame and another frame is moving with a uniform velocity. Inertial frame means the frame of reference either at rest or moving with uniform velocity. If it is accelerated, we moving with accelerated velocity changing, then it cannot be inertial frame. So, the inertial frame means the frame of reference which is either at rest or is moving with a uniform or constant velocity. Charge, if you viewed, you have a rest frame and another is a moving frame. The charge in the rest frame is suppose 10 e plus 10 e. So, if you viewed it in the moving frame, then also it will be 10 e, same. There will be no change if the frame of reference is being changed. Total charge remains the same. So, that is called invariance of charge. Then another property is, sixth property is like charges repel and unlike charges attract. Like charge means the positive charges or negative charges. If there are two positive charges, they will repel each other. Similarly, if there are two negative charges, they will also repel each other. But a positive charge and negative charge will attract each other. So, that means like charges repels and unlike charges like charges repel and unlike charges attracts. So, these are the 6 properties of charges. Then we can compare an electric charge with the mass of a body. Comparison of properties of electric charge and mass. Comparison of properties of electric charge and mass. Electric charges are of two types, one is positive or negative, but mass is always positive, there is no negative mass. This is one property. First property is electric charges may be positive or negative, but mass is always positive. There is no negative mass. And electric charge on a body is independent of speed of the body. If a charged body is moving, then its charge will never remain, will not change. It will remain the same. But mass of a body increases with a increase in the speed of the body. Electric charge is independent of speed, but mass is not independent of speed. Mass changes with speed, and this is given by a formula m is equal to m0 root over of 1 minus b square by c square. Mass, this is called moving mass. M is moving mass. And this is the rest mass. B is the velocity of the body with which the body, velocity of the body, and C is the velocity of light. Velocity of light. The mass of a body is not constant, it changes with speed of a body. Suppose we have a pen or we have a book. The book at rest is suppose 5 grams, but this theory says that the book is at rest is 5 grams. It will not change, but when if you take this book and the book will travel in a car or in a aeroplane or in any other high speed materials, then its speed will not, its mass will not be 5 grams. Its mass will gradually increase. This is that means the mass of a body is not a constant quantity, it changes with a velocity of light. When V becomes equal to C, if you take the body, this book which is 5 grams, if you take it in a plane, suppose you have constructed a plane which moves with velocity of light, and you have kept it this book in that vehicle which is moving with the velocity of light, then at that time B will be equal to C. That means B is C means velocity of light, then it will be c square minus by c square is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, something divided by 0 becomes infinity. So, this book which has 5 grams or 10 grams or 20 grams, if that book moves with the velocity of light, then its mass never becomes 5 grams, it becomes infinite. This is the special theory of relativity. You can ask whether it is changing. Yes, it is changing, because we are taking this book mass of the book as constant, because when we are moving, our velocity is not comparable to the velocity of light. So, B is very small compared to C. So, this is negligible, then we take m is equal to m0. But if a body moves with a light velocity, then its mass will not be constant quantity, because for you are studying, when you are studying the nuclear physics. So, in nuclear physics, velocity of the electron, proton, neutron or alpha particles, they are very large, that can be compared with the velocity of light. In that case, you cannot keep the mass of the bodies as constant. But for ordinary cases, classical physics, we can take the mass of a body as constant. So, here that means mass of a body is not constant, but the electric charge is always a constant quantity. Then third property is electric charge is quantized, but quantization of mass is not known. We do not know the quantization of mass. Same thing, fourth property is electric charge is always conserved, but mass is not conserved. Mass can be converted to energy according to your Einstein's mass energy relation, that is E is equal to mc square. This is the fourth property. Electric charge is conserved, but mass is not conserved, it is converted to energy. E is equal to mass into energy, E is equal to mc square. Then fifth property is accelerated charge radiates energy, but accelerated mass does not radiate energy. Energy can be radiated only from accelerated charge, but accelerated mass cannot radiate energy. Write down one problem. A glass rod rubbed with silk acquires positive charge of plus 19.2 into 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. A glass rod rubbed with silk acquires a positive charge of 19.2 into 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. Calculate the number of electrons lost by glass rod. And we know that here for this problem, we know Q is, I have told you Q is total charge is equal to plus or minus Ne. So, we have to calculate what is N. So, N is equal to Q by E. Q is given as 19.2 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, and one electronic charge is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 6. Ten to the minus 19. So, if 10 to the minus 19, 10 to the minus 19, coulomb cancels, 19.2 divided by 1.6 is 12. Then I will tell you regarding Coulomb's law. of electronic charge. This law is valid for only for point charges. And the Coulomb's law says that electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between two charged bodies is directly proportional to the product of charges and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. Coulomb's law. The force of attraction or repulsion between two charges, two point charges, is directly proportional to the product माने गुणनफल product of their charges and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. Suppose there are 2 point charges, one is Q1, another is Q2. They are point charges, this size is very small, will have very small dimension, and their center of this and center of this distance between them is suppose r. Then this law says, this is the experimental law. So the law says that the force of attraction means suppose this is one positive, another negative, they will attract. So this is force of attraction. If there are, suppose this is positive and this is positive, there will be repulsion. If this is negative and this is negative, so there will be repulsion. So it is said force of attraction, depending on the nature of charges, it will be either attractive or repulsive. The force of attraction between them is directly proportional to product means gunaphala. This charge is Q1, this charge is Q2, so it is directly proportional to ए दुटा चार्ज र गुणनफल संगे डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल. And inversely proportional, distance between them, center as center ta center with the distance of r, so inversely proportional to r square, directly proportional to 1 by r square or inversely proportional to r square. So this is the Coulomb's law. So if you combine them, so you will have F is equal to directly proportional to Q1 Q2, combining these two, F is directly proportional to Q1 Q2 by r square. Or we know that A is proportional to B, means A is equal to some constant into B. Similarly, here F is proportional to Q1 Q2 by r square, means F is equal to some constant beta into Q1 Q2 by r square. Beta is called as constant of proportionality, which depends on the nature of the medium in which the two charges are located, and also depends on the unit chosen. So this beta depends on the unit chosen and they depends on the medium in which the two charges are placed. And for free space, beta is equal to, in SI system, beta is equal to Free space means air or vacuum. For free space, air or vacuum. Beta value in SI system, beta is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, where epsilon 0 is called as permittivity of the medium. That determines the property of that medium where these two charges are being placed. For epsilon 0 is called permittivity. And for any other medium, for air medium or vacuum, so F is equal to beta q1 q2 by r square, or beta is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. For any other medium, in any other medium other than air or vacuum, the force is, Coulomb force is equal to beta badal we can write as 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 by r square. Epsilon is any other medium, in air medium it is 4 pi, beta is equal to 4 pi epsilon 0, but in any other medium beta is becomes equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon, not epsilon 0. Where epsilon is permittivity of that medium. Then here we define another quantity, that is called relative permittivity. So, the relative permittivity means we are comparing with some other body. Relative permittivity or that is also called as dielectric constant. Is defined, relative permittivity we write as epsilon r. We have denoted a subscript r. So, this is called relative permittivity, epsilon r. Relative permittivity or dielectric constant is defined as ratio of permittivity of the medium, that is called epsilon, to permittivity in free space, that is epsilon 0. Then the relative permittivity epsilon r we define as equal to dielectric constant K is equal to epsilon by epsilon 0. Epsilon r or K dielectric constant is equal to epsilon by epsilon 0 according to this definition, relative permittivity, or we can so epsilon means equal to this, epsilon means this is multiplied with this, or epsilon 0 into epsilon r, that is equal to epsilon is equal to epsilon 0 into epsilon r, or that is equal to epsilon r is K, that is equal to epsilon 0 into K. So, the Coulomb's law in terms of relative permittivity or dielectric constant can be written as F as equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 by r square, or that is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon is equal to epsilon 0 into epsilon r. So, that is 4 pi epsilon 0 into epsilon r q1 by q2 by r square, or also it can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r is equal to k, epsilon r is equal to k dielectric constant epsilon 0 k into q1 q2 by r square. So, this is the general Coulomb's law equation in scalar form for a medium other than air or a vacuum. That means, in any other medium, the general equation of force of between two charges is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into k, or 4 pi epsilon 0 into epsilon r q1 q2 by r square. And then we will find the unit and dimension of epsilon 0. Unit and dimension of we know the force is for air medium or in vacuum, the force Coulomb's force is F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square. Epsilon is permittivity in free space or air. Then from this epsilon 0 becomes epsilon 0 comes here, F goes there. So, it is in the downward. So, this is equal to 4 pi f q1 q2 by r square. So, unit of epsilon 0 if you find, then this is the you have to take the unit of charge and also unit of force and unit of distance. So, in SI system charge unit is Coulomb. So, this is Coulomb into Coulomb, Coulomb square, force is Newton, 4 pi this is a constant has no unit. So, force has unit of force in SI system is Newton, and similarly distance is meter. So, this is meter square. So, this is Coulomb square divided by the Newton meter square. So, unit of epsilon 0 is do not remember the units, you just deduce it from the formula. You just remember the formula, and from the formula you can find out the unit and also the dimension. Do not remember it. So, unit of epsilon 0 is charge is Coulomb, 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 Coulomb square divided by 4 pi has no unit. So, force is Newton, then distance is meter, meter square. So, that means it is equal to Coulomb square Newton inverse meter inverse square minus 2. So, this is the unit of epsilon 0. Similar dimension you can find, dimension of epsilon 0 you can take the dimension of charge, then force dimension, distance dimension. Charge dimension is AT. Rate of flow of charge is current. Current is Q by T. If in T seconds the charge flows, Q charge flows. So, in 1 second the charge flow is Q by T, and rate of flow of charge is current. So, current is I is equal to q by t. So, charge will be I t and dimension of current is A. So, dimension of charge is A, t is time A t. So, dimension of charge is A t. So, dimension of epsilon 0 means charge dimension divided by 4 pi has no dimension, this is a constant. Force has dimension is ml t to the minus 2, force is mass into acceleration, m is mass is m, dimension is m and acceleration is l t to the minus 2. So, it has ml t to the minus 2, distance has dimension l. So, this is l square. So, dimension of epsilon 0 is 80 by force is ml t to the power minus 2, then distance is l square. So, that means it is equal to m to the power minus 1, this is m is in the lower side. So, it is if you take it off, so that becomes m to the minus 1, then this is l square lq. So, lq goes off l to the minus 3, then this is t square and this goes off becomes t square. So, this is t 4 and a. So, this is the dimension of epsilon 0, m to the power minus 1, l to the power minus 3, s at a square, then s square t to the power minus a t to the power 4. So, dimension of epsilon 0 is m to the power minus 1, l to the power minus 3, t to the power 4, a to the power 2. Then we will calculate what is the value of epsilon 0. And we know that this 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 has value equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9. This value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9. So, epsilon 0 will be gives you epsilon 0 as equal to 1 by 4 pi into 9 into 10 to the power 9. So, that means that is if you calculate it, so it becomes equal to 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12, and unit of epsilon 0 is c square n to the power minus 1 m to the power minus 2. So, this is equal to c square Coulomb square into Newton inverse and meter minus 2. So, the value of epsilon 0 is 8.854 into 10 to the minus 12 and unit is Coulomb square, Newton inverse and meter minus 2. Then Coulomb's law is valid for only point charges. This is one important point, you have to note it. The Coulomb's law is only valid for point charges having negligible dimension, and force exerted by one charge on this second is equal and opposite to that exerted by the second on the first. They are equal and opposite, and Coulomb's law is not affected by presence of other charges in the neighborhood. If you place another charge in the neighborhood, the Coulomb's law will not be affected. And Coulomb's law is attractive for dissimilar charges and repulsive for similar charges. And Coulomb's law is valid for large and small distance, but up to a distance of 10 to the minus 13 meter. But if the distance between the two charges is less than 10 to the minus 13, this Coulomb's law will not be valid, because at that time nuclear force will come into play. In nucleus, Coulomb's law is not valid. Nuclear force is something different. The nature of nuclear force is different from the Coulombic force. So, Coulomb's force is not valid for the nucleus. of an atom. Then one problem, two spheres, write down the problem. Two spheres having equal and opposite charges experiences a force of 25 in 10 by 5 Newton when they are placed 2 centimeter apart in a medium with relative permittivity 5. Determine the charge on each sphere. Two spheres having equal and opposite charges experience a force of 25 in 10 to the power 5 Newton when they are placed 2 centimeter apart in a medium with relative permittivity 5. Determine the charge on each sphere. There are two equal and opposite charges. Suppose this charge is Q, this is also Q. Equal and opposite, this is plus and this is minus, but the magnitude of the two charges are same, and they are placed at a distance of, these are 2 point charges, they are placed at a distance of 2 centimeter apart. R is equal to 2 centimeter. And the relative permittivity epsilon r is equal to 5. So, calculate the charge. This charge is not given, but the force is given. Force is equal to 25 into 10 to the power 5 Newton. So, to solving a problem, you have to write the equation. What are the quantity given and what is to be determined? Here given is force is given, epsilon r is given, and distance between them r is given. Convert them in one system. Suppose you are taking SI system, then convert all the terms in SI system and put the formula, and you will find the unknown. Unknown is your Q. Q is to be determined. So, formula used is F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 epsilon r Q Q1 Q2 by r square. This is in centimeter, you convert it to meter. This is 2 by 100 meter, and then epsilon r is known. Epsilon 0 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is 9 into 10 to the power 9. So, force is 25 into 10 to the power 5 Newton, that is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is 9 into 10 to the power 9. Q1 Q2 is not known, thus Q1 is equal to Q2. So, that is equal to Q square. Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q into Q square divided by R is 2 by 100 or 0.02 meter square. So, if you calculate, then Q comes as 10.5 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 4 coulomb. You calculate and you will find what is the value of Q.